Hello, everybody from Jerusalem. You know what this is in the background, that building there? That is Israel's Knesset, Israel's parliament. I'm here in Israel for the next few days, and I wanted to bring to your attention something that Tucker Carlson has said recently. Tucker Carlson is, in my mind, someone that we have to keep talking about because he's possibly one of the most influential and dangerous proponents of hatred towards Jewish people, and the reason why I say he's dangerous is because he's clever and he's subtle and he knows how to gaslight and he knows how to bait people who are pro-Israel and pro-Jewish. So I'm not going to stop talking about him and calling him out and going point by point through some of the things that he's been saying and challenging them. And he was just in Doha right now. One of the suggestions that's been put out there is that maybe Tucker's shift recently to becoming more hostile to Israel and much more sympathetic towards Islamist countries and actors is perhaps maybe he's getting some funding. We know that there's a Qatari investor that invested massive amounts in his media venture, but whether the Qatari government themselves are being involved, well, that's something else. First of all, I want you to watch what he said at a Doha conference just now, where he was being interviewed by the Prime Minister of Qatar. Have a watch of what he said when he was asked about these allegations.
Last question. I've been personally, not to make it about me, but I have been criticized as being a tool of Qatar. And I just want to say what you already know, which is I've never taken anything from your country and don't plan to. I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar. Both please, because I am
pay a high check
in Doha, yeah, and I'm doing that because I like the city. I think it's beautiful, but also to make the statement that I'm an American and a free man, and I'll be wherever I want to be.
So I just want to get this straight. He's saying he denies the allegations. Meanwhile, to prove just how much these allegations are false, he's about to buy a place in Qatar. Okay, I'm not quite sure I see the logic there. And I'm also very cautious not to make assumptions without having the facts. So we don't know the facts yet, and I want us to get to the facts. And even, by the way, even if it turns out he isn't being funded by a Qatari government, that still doesn't mean that anything he's doing is any less sinister. But it just helps us explain what's going on with him. To be honest, I kind of think what's going on with him is just, even without Qatar, it's theological for him. I think he has a certain reading of Christianity and replacement theology that makes him very hostile towards Jews and to Israel. And maybe it happens to be because of that the Qataris have decided to help fund him. But either way, it is important that we get to the facts on this. Now, I want to share with you a clip from Erin Molan, Australian presenter, who interviewed an opposition activist, an exiled opposition leader, an activist from Qatar, who says he has been looking at Tucker Carlson's funding for a while, and he's going to be exposing more of what he's found soon. I'm going to play that clip in a second, but before I do that, I want you to see this clip, which shows how disingenuous Tucker Carlson is. That even when he may say this, it's important to understand that he has a history of being, I would suggest, dishonest. Namely, because of his pattern of denying he knows anything about people who he now doesn't like, but has interviewed and clearly knows about. Have a watch of this.
Dave Rubin, whoever that is.
But I don't have the control that you have, which is wonderful.
Who's Tommy Robinson? You know Tommy Robinson. He seems like a fraud to me.
Tommy Robinson, thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us.
Laura Loomer, that's the world's creepiest human. I don't even know where she came from or who she is exactly.
Seth, whatever, from the Babylon Bee.
Yeah. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Quotes from that Josh Hammer guy.
Well, that's incredible. Yeah. Josh Hammer.
And now let's have a watch of Erin Molan's clip with a Qatari opposition activist. Have a watch.
Talk to me about someone like Tucker Carlson, who seems to have changed his tune entirely when it comes to Qatar. And look, I don't know what his arrangements are. I haven't seen any evidence of anything, but there has been a significant change of tune from him when it comes to his narrative and his coverage of Qatar.
There is an investigation is going on now by Khalid Al-Hel Institute, and there's I can't say much about it, but I've been investigating this matter for a very long time, and it was a bit of a strange thing for me and for many others. But when you start linking things together, and the way he shifted, and the timeline you will understand that Qatar has a big hand on it. And I definitely, I'm very certain, without the core evidence, let's say, but I'm certain.
And we make that very clear. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. Speculation.
but I am certainly sure that they have a hand somehow on that. Because if there were no financial benefit for Tucker Carlson, there wouldn't be a big shift like you saw now. So the issue is he's not only pro-Trump, but he was on the right camp. Qatar recently shifted a lot of people from the right camp to their own camp. And in the near future, we will see what exactly they've been doing. And I'm sure I can't say much, but there is certain things is happening that it will be revealed soon to the world. I'm very sure about that.
So there we go. Whatever happens, whether or not it turns out that Tucker does have Qatari government funding or not, we are going to continue to tackle point by point his lies, his nonsense, his deception, which for me is clearly based on a bad faith. But if it does turn out that the Qatari state are involved in it, it makes the whole thing just a lot more sinister. And I, by the way, think it's very important that all of us get clued up on Qatar. Some people think Qatar, they're kind of in two minds. On the one hand, they think, well, we need to appeal more to the West, but they also have Islamist sympathies. Others say, no, they're completely fooling the West and playing a double game. I think it leans more towards the latter. I think they'd be very happy to see Islamist countries and agendas surging, the Muslim Brotherhood and all of that. And for those of you who haven't yet seen, we have a new documentary on JTV Plus called Qatar, the Great Deceiver, how a tiny state fools the West, plays the West, while at the same time funding its enemies. Have a watch of the trailer, and if you haven't watched it already, where we unpack a lot of this information and expose a lot of Qatar's involvement in all kinds of anti-Western activities and Islamist activities, you can click on the link below in the video description, and here's the trailer now to have a watch.
Qatar, a gleaming nation on the Arabian Peninsula. All glass towers and gold-plated excess, where the super-rich jet in for the art fairs and World Cups, where Western universities open campuses and diplomats toast to partnership. But look closer at the glittering mirage, and the shimmer reveals something sinister. For 2 decades, this tiny state has been executing the greatest con in modern geopolitics, convincing the world it's a bridge between civilizations, while secretly bankrolling the arsonists on both sides. The name Qatar should make Western leaders shudder. Instead, they shake hands with its emirs, park fighter jets on its soil, and call it an ally. On October 7, 2023, the mask slipped, as 1,200 souls were slaughtered in Israel in a symphony of savagery orchestrated by Hamas. The world saw where the terrorist leaders live, not in tunnels beneath Gaza, but in luxury villas in Doha, under Qatar's protection. And as the bodies were being counted, Qatar's leaders didn't condemn the massacre, they called for restraint. This is the untold story of the Gulf's master deceiver, how a nation smaller than Connecticut is playing the West for fools. As you are watching this, billions are flowing from Doha into extremist networks, while Western elites cash Qatari checks and sing its praises. In this JTV Plus documentary, we follow the money, we expose the double game, and we ask the question that should haunt every Western capital. How are we letting them get away with it? To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.